I'm going to be talking about zip green pinpoints with high pink lines, ZipPink lines. And if you have had a chance to look at a previous video that I did, it's similar to this. Excuse me. They're called pink-green bottoms. Basically, the zip green's at 0. The pink comes in and in a crescent move, and eventually there's a key setup or signal that causes that to be an uptrend, a reversal uptrend. These have the zip green pinpoints with high pink lines can oftentimes be climb in the uptrend very fast, and they don't happen a lot, but there's a combination of different things that can occur when the pink line is high and the zip green is at 0 on a pinpoint. Flipping over to the chart, you've got right over here in this yellow vertical line, we have the pink, excuse me, yeah, the zip pink at 13, and we have the zip green obviously at 0. And the next day we have two really nice candles. And I'll make reference to this from the perspective that you also have underneath the pink line the zip yellow and zip blue. The zip blue is at lowest at 5.13, and the zip yellow is at 5.29. So that particular one is a zip blue lowest with a pinpoint. This next one is the same thing. Zip green's at 0, zip blue is at 7, zip pink is at 15. And again, you have two really nice candles. This candle goes from 93 to 99, just a few pennies short of $6. The next one looks very comparable. It's about $5, 99 to 104.5. And again, this particular one, when you look at it, I only have the zip and the power and the trend because the video just needs to have more room, so I don't have the swing chart on here right now. Excuse me. But you can tell from this red vertical line that the trend trio, pink, yellow, and blue, are in an uptrend. And you can also tell that the power pink and blue, which are your deep cycle indicator lines, they are down there and they're on their way back up. So the likelihood is that the green candles will be nice and strong. At least the next one will be nice and strong, and after you look at the following day in making a decision about whether you want to continue in the trade, you obviously have about the same amount of signal activity indicating another continuation of an uptrend. If you go back here, this is the power pink and yellow, the power blue and pink were also very low. You actually had a little bit of a W pattern down here when the pink and the blue power lines were down low. Red is above green in the trend chart, again indicating an uptrend with a red candle. When you have that, you have divergence, and you've got a couple of days of that. And when you have divergence, it just pushes you into some nice candles. The candle here went from 97 to 101. the second green candle went from 99 to 103. So those are two pinpoint green candles. Down here a ways, I've got a few more that I want to show you. In this particular case, we've got a on the green vertical line, we have a ZipPink at 28 and a Zip Green at 0. The Zip on this vertical line day, it closed at 93.43, and then it opened at 94.24 and went up to 95.61. So it was a couple dollar day. Take note, this day did not have a Zip Blue lowest next to the green, but it still went from a close of this day of 93.43 to a high on the next day of 95.61. So it's a little over $2. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with a $2 increase. You can make some significant profit with $2. Now, going on to this next one, I want to compare the green vertical line with the red vertical line, because these are actually red-green bottoms, or spikes we call them. They're one-day red-green spikes, but a normal red-green spike has the spikes equal or within a few points. This one over here, the green one, the day before the green vertical line is the green spike down, and the day before that is your red spike down. But the red is significantly higher than the green. Over here it's vice versa. The green is significantly higher from the red. And notice that I'll move this over to the alert day. These are both, the vertical green line is now on the green bottom. It actually has in this one here has a pink at, I mentioned that, at 28, which is nice and high, and it gapped up significantly. Same thing is true over here. We have a really nice gap. It closed on this day. The Zip Green closed at 27, and the pink was at 72. So, but the gap closed at 83.84. The next day it opened at 86.36. So that's about a $3 gap, and then it went up to a high of 88.35. So very, very significant. You can see the difference, or at least hopefully you can see the difference. One of and you always want to keep in mind where your power red is. On the green vertical line back here, your power red crossed over 0, caused a gap. Excuse me. You've heard me say on previous videos on many occasions the power red, when it crosses the green line, gaps. And so when you see a position that you're close to the power red is underneath the 0, and if it does go up and you think it's going to go up, there's a good chance it's going to gap up the next day. So you can take advantage of those moves. This one here has a much better gap, the red vertical line over here. And think about the location of the spikes. The red is the lowest spike here. The momentum is going up. The red is the highest spike here. The momentum's going down. And that's, in this particular case here, your power red is already over 0. Your Zip Pink is on its highest position, and your Zip Pink, your power pink. And when you have that happen, you have a really nice situation in that your power pink is a deep cycle and it's on a peak. So as long as it hangs out on the peak, you're going to continue to go up. One other key element, if you look at at the zip chart here on the red vertical line. Look where you are. I'm going to move this back 3 days. Look at the separation between the zip yellow and the zip blue. Blue's at 63, yellow's at 86. So it's a 23-point difference. And as I've told you before, the vast majority of time, the blue comes back to the yellow. I do have a video that I've showed that I found one example to that. Actually, doesn't happen very often, but here's another example. The yellow was down. If I move this vertical line over here, the yellow was down. The next day it gapped up. Yellow actually came up to the blue. Historically, that does not occur. It typically, the blue comes back to the yellow. Whether the blue's going down or the blue's going up, it typically comes back to the yellow more often than not. All right, now I've pointed out a number of things here. This third one I'm going to also talk about. Unlike the first two, the green one and the red one, this second red one on the left, this one has a 2-day red-pink spike, but then the red comes over at a low angle, and that's really not a true red-green spike. When we talk about the red-green spike, it's just that. We like to see nice, solid lines going down, not low-angle lines, and that as this has happened here. And so, and you also think about where you are when you need to think about your wide lines or your peaks. You've got a real nice power pink that's real high, and everything is coming down. And so your pattern that you're looking at, your zip green pinpoint, is a reversal pattern going back up. So it's not likely to be real significant when you have a significant issue like this in the power pink and blue lines. Same is true down below. As I open up the trend chart, you're basically in a down pattern from about 3 days behind this vertical red line on the left, because that your trend blue, pink, yellow are going down. And so even though you have your zip green on the going down, green going down under orange over in this area here, it's still above zero. And as to, I'll just show you this as an example. You've got a situation right here from way over on this corner of the chart where the trend trio, yellow, pink, blue, crossed over zero. They stay above the zero here for several months. I mean, literally, right here is the day when they cross down under, right in this area right here. All this time, the yellow, trendy yellow, has been above zero. And that just shows you it's not much of an uptrend, but it definitely goes up. Looks like it, like over here on this candle, it closed at $80, and over here where it crossed, well, if you take the kind of like the high point where your red peak is, it closed at 96. So it went up $16. Here it closed at 97. And then on this day here, it went down, and then it closed at 96. So how you look at these zip green pinpoints is a factor of oftentimes where that pink line is in height away from the green line. Even over in here, there's you're on a 3-day, this is a pink green bottom, and the ZipPink is at 12. When you have a high ZipPink, I mean, at 12 away from 0 is pretty strong. Look at the gap that you got this next day. That's a really nice gap up. And so when you have those high, this acts like those examples that I've related to you in the past about the Zip Blue being the lowest. We'll get back to those in a few minutes. I've got a final one here that I want to share with you. Let me adjust the candles so we can see what's going on here. And this here is again, it's a Zip Green at 0 pinpoint with, and obviously we don't know that they're pinpoints at this point, but this is the first day they hit the 0, the Zip Green hits 0. And it's pretty easy to see that this one is going to be nice, because down here in the power chart you have the power pink in a right leg high W. Actually, it's about 4 or 5 days long, and it's just started to go up, and it's almost lowest. It really is beneficial if the power pink is lowest or close to it. And down here in the trend chart, you have a low angle down in trend red, and that low angle down is at the bottom of a high right leg W. So that is going to be a nice strong move. In this case, it goes up 2, goes down 2, and then you get a nice green candle. And so from this opening on the following day after the purple indicator line, it opens at 59.74, and 5 days later it closes at 62. So nothing huge, but it just depends if you're a swing trader or a day trader, because there's a lot of swing trade abilities. I personally day trade, and so my preference is to go in and out each day. But now, on this one right here, I want to point out on the purple line that the Zip Pink is at 8, and the Zip Blue and Yellow are both at 3. And the Zip Blue is 3.84, and the Zip Yellow is 3.96. So again, you have Zip Blue lowest. When you Zip Blue lowest, it's a very powerful move, typically, with a Zip Green at 0. Just as an example over here, you've got about 6 or 7 days of the green, Zip Green at 0. Zip Blue comes down, and Zip Blue on this day, I'm going to move this, I'm going to create another vertical line so that we can talk, so that I can explain things effectively. On this red vertical line, we have the Zip Blue at 0. So it's come down. There's most everything else is coming down. You can see your power orange and green are in a downtrend, but blue, red, gray all pop up for one day on this next day, but your Zip Pink continues down. It's now at 1.3. The following day, Zip Pink hits 0.58. Typically, when it goes under 1, there's a good chance that it will go up. You need to look for a key. One of your keys here is that you are at the bottom with a power pink. Obviously, you don't know you're at the bottom, but historically, when you see these W patterns occur, and right now you got a power blue right here is at, Zip Blue is at 2.14. 2 days earlier, right over here, Zip Blue is at 0. Or no, Zip Blue is at 0.61, excuse me. And so 0.61 to 2.1, that's about a 3 times increase. but that's not really important. What you have there is a higher right leg W, and you got 3 red candles up above it. And so you know that that divergence is likely to cause a green candle the next day. And so it does. Your trend, I mean, look at how low your trend is. It's at minus 53, trend red. And you are heading, or it does show a downtrend, but the first thing that happens in trend lines are your fast movers change. Your zip red goes up. Your power pink goes up. Your trend red goes up. Your swing pink goes up. Those are some of your fast movers, and they start the trend. And then your trend trio, the yellow, pink, blue, those will start to move up before your real long-term trend lines. The green, the power green and orange, and the swing red and green. I don't have the swing chart on here as I mentioned earlier. But now I want to go back here to these other 2 lines and show you, just reference something else. And the reason I'm coming back here is because these lines here are, I'm going to pull these candles into place. The red vertical line has a low, has a zip green at 0 with the next lowest line, the zip blue. And you could literally set a scan for this with zip green at 0 and zip blue the next lowest line, and you would pick up some significant uptrends. This one here only lasted for 2 or 2.5 days, however you want to look at it, the red vertical line. The yellow vertical line, you can see, looks like it lasted for 6-8 days. So those are key plays in that zip green high pink line scenario, and we have looked at reasons why these things go up. Significantly tied to these zip green lowest lines, zip green at 100, zip green at 0 lines, are these power pink and blue, and when they're coming up off the bottom, like both of these are, you know the deep cycle is behind you and you're coming up, and that doesn't happen with everything. You can't at this vertical line here, the yellow line. If you look at the trend trio, yellow, pink, blue, they're still all going down. You obviously have the red above the green, which indicates an uptrend, but in this case here we had these 3 red days of divergence, but these 3 red days of divergence are part of what caused this looks like 8 or 9 day uptrend. When you think of divergence, think of a spring-loaded mechanism. It's pushing in the wrong direction, and it keeps pushing in the wrong direction, and when it lets loose, it's either going to just sky high one day, really good numbers up, or it's just going to go boom, 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 just keep climbing. So one of the last things that I want to point out to you here is right here, and this happens to be a zip green at 24, and you have the blue, the pink, the gray, and the red zip lines all below the green line, and you have a low angle down in the pink and the gray and the red zip lines. And the other thing that you have is significant separation between the zip blue and the zip yellow, and that zip yellow is at 37 and the zip blue is at 15. So it's literally 2 times the spread difference of the blue line. And you've heard me say before, the blue normally comes back to the yellow. You've got a really nice down spike here. 3 red candle days. The last 2 were really strong. When you get really strong candles or really tall red candles, sometimes you get really tall green candles when it reverses. Your trend chart here, your trend red is at -64. I mean, oftentimes that's why on the trend chart you have the -40 line and the +40 line. They're just reference lines to indicate to you that oftentimes things turn around at or near the 40 line. And so when they go deeper, typically the movement, like on the trend red, when it goes down to 100, -100, it typically has a real strong uptrend or a real long uptrend. So key things to remember here, you think there's not much difference sometimes between little things, but you can pick up a lot of information watching what stocks are doing, or excuse me, watching what the vertical lines are doing. Because you can look at the candles, but the candles can't tell you anything. You can't see divergence like on those 3 red candles I just showed you. It doesn't work. You have to have the indicators, and you have to have sensitive indicators like we have in this system. That's why it's just so exciting to have a system like this. The average person is told by financial people and financial traders, they don't want you in the market. They can see this stuff. I mean, I've got a professional system here that's one of a kind. But let me tell you, the pros are paying big bucks for stuff that only floor traders use. And this is very comparable in its ability to capture what the floor traders are looking at. So it's exciting. But more on the next